Hi folks, it's Nick here. We're on the SEGA Genesis or Mega Drive. We're going to look, as you can see, at Afterburner 2, published by SEGA in 1995. Now, based on the popular arcade cabinet from 1987, it's a game where you control or fly an F14 Tomcat over 18 stages, if you're good enough, and must shoot all the enemy and last as long as possible, and then eventually get to next stages via checkpoints, and then the scenery and graphics change slightly. So let's look at the options to make this as easy as possible for me. It's a game that I've played or reviewed on the ZX Spectrum, the Commodore Amiga and the Game Boy Advance. In all of those I wasn't very good, so don't expect brilliance here, which I'm sure you never do, and my success is pretty much random as I'll go left to right, up and down trying to avoid stuff. You can shoot traditionally, I think I got this on auto fire, and then there's another button to do missiles and stuff. The speed is controlled by going up or down. Shoot all these enemy people and don't get shot yourself. So stage 1, bumping music, moving really fast. Yeah, this is good. Now the best version prior to this one I played was on the Game Boy Advance. Spectrum sort of like struggled, and Commodore Amiga struggled a little bit as well. There's two versions there. The first one was a lot better than the second one. I'm getting a bit dizzy. Now there is a way to flip the craft so it goes upside down temporarily. Not quite sure how to do that. You'll see a radar on the top right telling me whereabouts on the screen I am. But just trying to avoid all the enemy fire. So we're already on to stage 2. You notice a colour control or colour change there. And you know, you've got to try and avoid the missiles, but it is pretty much random for me. Left, right, up and down, just keep moving and hopefully avoid all the enemy. Now, probably a best... yeah, that's gone wrong. The best way is to wait till they fire at you and then change direction. When the target locks, you can do a missile, but I'll fight them, shoot them as many times as I possibly can. Oh, I've been clipped on the corner again. Periodically, a huge craft will come up, which you dock with in flight, and that will replenish all of your weapons. You do get some continues if you lose all your lives, so you will get a bit of play out of this. And it is a good game. It's probably on par with the Game Boy Advance version, maybe even a little bit quicker. Yeah, continue. I knew this was going to happen. So frame rate isn't brilliant, but nor was the arcade version. And does it replicate the arcades well? Well, I'd say it does. Right, so dock with the ship, refuel, get all your, well not refuel, get all your missiles, and we're off on a night stage. So one could say this was a classic game. I never really got used to it really. A bit like Space Harrier, my success was extremely random. The arcade cabinet, there's a few different versions in the arcades. One was like a gyroscopic sort of one, which turned you left and right, but not quite upside down. How long I'm going to last on this? Probably not very long. You get a choice of different music you might have seen in the options. You can put it on easy, medium, hard and all the different bits. This is on easy, believe it or not, and I'm making such a meal of this. Now, did you have this one back in the day on the SEGA Mega Drive or Genesis? Let me know, because you might have got pretty good on it if you kept playing and playing and playing it. Did you get to the end of all 18 stages? And if so, what does happen at the end? I did have a cheat on one version I played it on. Might have been one of the Amiga versions. I don't think we played it right to the end though. Gameplay doesn't change a great deal from this, but the speed of the thing is something special. Different enemies coming at you as you go forward. Don't think you can have any head-on collisions with these guys. It's just, wow, it's just if you get hit by a missile or fire, boom, I've hit the floor again. Continue, because that was quick. I am very good at dying in this game, aren't I? So we might have a few goes just to show you a bit of the gameplay, but this is what flying an F14 Tomcat is like. This is Afterburner 2. I couldn't find Afterburner 1 to play. Did that come out on the SEGA Mega Drive? I'm sure it must have done, but I couldn't see it. It's probably very similar to this, or maybe a little bit inferior, with it being the first one. Right. Yes, I'm getting a bit dizzy now, folks. Very, very dizzy indeed. If you know a top strategy for this game, rather than just going left and right madness like I am, then let me know. Reload weapons as we go over a desert. Typical arcade game, and we've gone from the desert to like the Antarctic, it seems. Man, it is quite addictive though. It is pretty special. As a kid, on this particular version, I would have played it quite a bit. Didn't think too much of it when I played it on the Amiga, but this one is pretty cool. Handheld is pretty cool as well. Check out the Game Boy Advance one. The Game Boy Advance version come with some other games on the cartridge as well. So you really got good money for that. I think it had Outrun on it, Space Harrier, this of course, and Super Hang-On. So 4 great Sega classics, and they're the big ones, I suppose, from the arcades. Those 4. A cartridge of all those 4 on a handheld, brilliant. Get that. Right, move around. Don't stop moving, or you're gonna get shot out the sky like a wally. So this is the nearest you can get at the time to Top Gun. I feel the need for, well, getting blown up, I suppose. Right, this is my last credit, I think. Let's see if I can make it last. No promises. We've got out that ice place. Now we're back into the green fields of home. Going over the trees at breakneck speed. You can check my speed out there on the bar on the bottom left. Stage 7, so that's not too bad, is it? There is a way of firing the afterburners, and I've gone. Come on. Well, we can just weave through, hit the red bar temporarily there. I'm hitting lots of different buttons. Man, right. I think we might get extra points for the more planes we shoot. That would make sense. These ones which I fly behind, I could probably take out a few more of those. Maybe use the missiles a bit better than I am doing already. But yeah, I'm an absolute beginner despite the amount of times I've played this. It's a bit like rolling a dice for me. Sometimes I roll a 6 and it's all super duper. Quite often I will roll a 1 or a 2 and it's just not quite enough points. Game over. That's the end of this pilot's life. But we've gone 4th on the high score chart, so that must be brilliant, right? That means I'm a brilliant player. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. We'll have one last go on it. I'm not sure we'll use all the credits, to be honest with you. I just want to make this into a decent length video so you can get an idea if you have an emulator or if you have the actual machine and didn't play this back in the day, is it worth tracking down? Look, that's a bit better. Just hold fire first of all, get these in your crosshairs. I would say if you're into your flying games and want an arcade sort of feel to it, there's not too many apart from this one, so this one is a must. For historic purposes as well, I think this has got to be in your collection because it's one of the all-time classics. As I say, like the big 4 in my mind from Sega in terms of this era, Outrun, Space Harrier, which I'm also rubbish at, and Super Hang-On. I have reviewed Super Hang-On on the system about a week or so ago, so check that one out if you haven't seen it already. There's an extra mode they put on that one that the arcade didn't have, which makes it a little bit interesting outside the normal arcade. So yeah, have a look at that video, show it a bit of love. Back into the desert, folks. There's the enemy coming at us, like like the baddies they are. And we don't know why this battle's taking place. Quite often in these fighting games, they've kidnapped the hero's girlfriend or something like that. But it seems like it's a lot of effort to go to for one person. So maybe there's another reason behind this. Maybe we're in Iraq or something. But yeah, Arcade 1987. What was going on then? This conversion 1995. So there's been 8 years gap between the two. Right, night time. Hook up with the main ship. I'd rather fly the main ship actually. That's probably got a lot of bombs on it and we can carpet bomb everyone. Obviously negotiations have failed leading up to this war. Twice, because this is Afterburner 2. Don't know how this plays on the Sega Saturn. I'm sure it come out on that, or the 3DO. If you do, or 3DS, let me know. Is it better than this? Is it on a par with this? Yeah. Shall we do one more continue? One more continue, I think. As you can tell, I'm not going to get to the end. We're only on stage 3. I've died a million times already. And there's 18 stages to this baby. Kaboom! He crashes into wherever he crashes into. The Brazilian rainforest at night, maybe. It's very blue down there. Perhaps it's the sea. Or maybe they've got night vision on. I do not know. Just keep firing the missiles. Try and get lucky. As Tyrell Williams said. Is this time to get lucky? Or Pharrell Williams, whatever his name is. Boom! Man, I'm getting gradually worse at this game, as I tend to do. I always blame it on commentating and playing the game at the same time. Quite often though, when I play the game without commentating, the results are the same. But there are times where I get... Actually, that's a lie. I'm quite a bit better without commentating and stuff, and looking at the time and the microphone and all that stuff. But we've seen all the gameplay on this one, haven't we, really? You know basically what to do. The one bit I haven't shown you, which I don't know quite how to do, is flipping the plane in 180 degrees right round with the screen. That's quite cool to do as well. Yes. Pause. Play. It's quite addictive, though, despite dying every 2 seconds. Let's try a tactic here. We'll just go like this. Whenever something fires at us, we'll just hit... Oh, that didn't work, did it? The missile came out to us so fast, probably because we couldn't see all the screen by going to that extreme side. Let's give it another go. Right, let's do time it. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that might work. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that might work. We're not trying to fight the fighters. We're trying to outwit the coders who made the game. Yeah, that could work, actually. Let's do this. This is our new... Oh, that strategy was working so well. And then they worked out what we were doing and took us out of the sky. Right. Oh, that's the best we've got, though, as we reload over the desert again. Haven't used too many of our missiles this time. Maybe we should use them more. Whoops. Over the snow-capped mountains of wherever it is. Antarctica. Look out for penguins and polar bears and anyone that's lost. If anyone's going to put their thumb out to thumb a lift, they're not in for any joy. Yes, okay, right. Now, this is as long as I've gone without dying. And then he dies, of course. Continue, as they say in those Tekken games. Continue. I don't think we will continue this time, but I hope you liked having a look at that one. A classic game, although not one of my favourites, but I can see a lot of people liking it. There's not too much bad things you can say about it, apart from the playability for me is pretty random. Probably because I haven't got the skills, but I hope you liked having a look at that one. That was Afterburner 2, published by SEGA in 1995, and based on their arcade cabinet from 1987. Got any comments about this game, similar games, the arcade, SEGA, or anything retro, then you're more than welcome to put that below. It keeps the channel active and makes it look like there's something going on, which quite often there is. And Nick, what are you going on about? Anyway, thank you to everyone that's subscribed so far. That's a big help in pushing the channel forward. If you want to help the channel a bit more, there's patreon.com/njenkins. So there's that thing I was telling you about, that swing thing. Yeah, every bit really does help. Until next time, take great care of yourself and a very fond goodbye.
Goodbye.